You wake up at 11 a.m. Check your bank account. $300. Maybe less if you count what you owe. Your friend just posted about his new apartment. Another guy from your school started his own business. And you're here, still thinking about the side hustle you were going to start last month, and the month before that. You tell yourself the system is rigged. Inflation is insane. Nobody can save money anymore. The job market sucks. You watched a video about housing being impossible. So why even try, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your bank account isn't broke because the system broke it. It's broken because of something much deeper. Something your mind has been protecting you from since you were gifted in 3rd grade. Welcome back to Eric Breaks Money. I'm Eric. Today we're talking about something critical. This video might feel personal. That's because it probably is. But if you stick around until the end, you'll understand why you stay broke and how to actually fix it. So let's dig in. Before we understand the money part, we need to understand what a man-child actually is. And I'm not talking about someone who plays video games. I'm talking about something much more subtle. Carl Jung had a term for this: Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy, someone who lives what Jung called the provisional life. Here's what that means. Everything you're doing right now doesn't feel like your real life. It's temporary. You work a job you hate, but you tell yourself it's just temporary. Somewhere inside you, you're an undiscovered genius. A diamond waiting to be discovered. You just haven't found the right moment yet. It's temporary. It's not real. You live in a messy apartment, but you don't clean it because this isn't your real home. One day you'll have the perfect place. You date someone, but deep down you know they're not the one. There's someone better out there. So you keep one foot out the door. Any excuse to jump ship. Everything in your life exists in the waiting room. You're the spectator watching your own life pass by. You watch the people around you throw themselves into life. They work. They fail. They move up. They get married. Your mind looks at them and unconsciously feels you're somehow above them. Better. More special. The ego of the child inside you tells itself they're trapped in the rat race. Bills, daily survival, while you're waiting for a more special path. But the truth is very different. And here's the part nobody talks about financially. If your entire life is temporary and fake, why would you take your finances seriously? Why pay bills on time? Why save? Why invest? It's all temporary anyway. You can't get rich in your real life. You're too busy waiting for your real life to actually start. Here's the tragic part. Most man-children weren't always like this. Most of them were actually gifted kids. Maybe you were the smartest kid in your class. Teachers told you that you were special. Your parents said, one day you're going to do great things. You were good at everything without trying. Art, music, math, writing. You got it all. This created a psychological trap that's still destroying your finances today. You built your entire sense of self-worth around being naturally talented and full of potential. You didn't earn your confidence through work. You got it as a gift because you were born smart. That became your entire identity. Then something happened. You grew up, and in the real world, nobody cares about your potential. The real world only cares about what you actually produced. That's where the problem started. When you tried something and you weren't immediately great at it, your mind couldn't process it. You were the guy who was supposed to be great, so your mind invented a psychological defense. That mechanism is procrastination, and it's the reason you're broke. As long as you haven't started, you can still believe that if you did start, you'd be amazing. You're still special, still full of potential. The story's still alive. But if you actually start and you try, then you face the possibility that you might not be special. That you might be average. That you might fail. So you don't start. You delay. You say I'll do it next week. And your bank account stays at $300. And you tell yourself it's because the system is rigged. It's not the system. It's your mind protecting your ego. Let me break down exactly what this costs you. In actual money. The average man-child spends his 20s and 30s in the waiting room, working a job that's just temporary, making just enough to survive, spending everything. Saving nothing. Let's say you make $30,000 a year. Over 10 years, that's $300,000 that passed through your hands. If you had saved just 20% and invested it, you'd have $80,000 to $90,000. Instead, you have debt. Or worse, you have nothing to show for it except memories of waiting. But the real cost is what economists call opportunity cost. It's the money you didn't make because you were waiting for permission to start. You didn't launch that side business. I'll do it when the time is right. You didn't learn that skill because I'll do it when I have more time. You didn't invest in yourself because maybe the economy will improve. So you stayed in your job, making $30,000 a year, when you could have been making $50,000 or $100,000. That's not just $30,000 lost. That's the difference between being broke and being financially secure. Between stress and peace. Between options and desperation. And the worst part? The longer you wait, the more expensive waiting becomes. Time compounds against you. When you're living a provisional life, your relationship to money becomes warped. You don't have a real apartment, so what's the point of budgeting? You eat out instead of cooking because the kitchen isn't your real kitchen. You buy expensive coffee because your real life will be more careful about money. You spend on status symbols, the watch, the shoes, the gaming PC, because these tell people I'm important. I'm just waiting for the world to finally notice me. This is what I call the illusion of readiness spending. You're not actually successful, but you're spending like you will be. You're performing wealth instead of building. A man-child spends $60 a month on subscriptions he doesn't use, buys courses on starting a business but never takes them, spends $200 on a gym membership in January, goes twice, keeps paying for it all year, because next month I'll actually go. Every single one is a tiny act of self-sabotage. You're paying money to keep the illusion alive. You're paying to stay broke. But you know this. Deep down, you know. But the alternative, admitting you're just a normal person, feels like death. There are 3 specific financial traps that man-children fall into. And if you recognize yourself, don't feel bad, just recognize it. Trap 1. The lottery mentality. You're broke most of the month, but you still buy lottery tickets. Or you put money into crypto you can't afford to lose. Or you invest in your friend's business that definitely won't work. What you're really doing is paying for hope. Paying for the fantasy that you don't have to do the work. That one lucky break, suddenly you're rich. The lottery mentality is the man-child's religion. It keeps him sane. It's why he can stay broke. He believes deep down, one lucky break will change everything. Trap 2. The permanent student trap. You're constantly buying courses, books, and programs about how to make money, but you never actually implement any of it. You've bought 3 dropshipping courses, 2 on cryptocurrency, 1 on real estate investing. You watch the videos. You tell yourself you're learning. You feel productive. But you never actually start the thing. Because as long as you're still learning, you still have potential to be successful. Once you start and it's hard, or you fail, then you're not the genius waiting anymore. You're just a guy who tried something, and it didn't work. So the courses stay unwatched. They stay as pure potential. And you keep buying more courses, because that feels like you're doing something. That feels like you're moving toward success. But you're just spending money on the illusion of progress. Trap 3. The victim spending trap. This one's most subtle. You spend money on things that reinforce the idea that the system is rigged against you. You pay $200 a month for a productivity app because if you're broke, it's obviously a time management problem, not a decisions problem. You spend on meditation apps and supplements because healthier means more energy to succeed. You don't change behavior, you feel less guilty about not changing. You spend on self-help books and therapy because you're working on yourself, which feels like progress. But it's all spending to feel better about not actually doing the work. The system isn't rigged. You're just rigging yourself. You're paying money to feel like you're changing while staying exactly the same. Here's the thing about man-child psychology and money. It's not solved by getting a better job. It's not solved by waiting for the economy to improve. It's a problem you solve by making a conscious decision to stop waiting for permission to be an adult. That's what this really is. You're waiting for someone to tell you, okay, now you can be successful. A better economy, a lucky break, a mentor, a perfect opportunity. But that permission never comes, because the permission always had to come from you. All along. That's the hardest truth. Here's what actually works. I'm going to give you 3 things. Step 1. Decide that your provisional life is your real life. This sounds simple. It's not. You have to decide that the life you're living now, with your current job, your current apartment, your current salary, is not temporary. It's real. And if your real life is real, then you have to take it seriously. You have to pay your bills on time. Not because it's responsible, but because this is your life and your life matters. Your life matters. You eat home-cooked food because feeding yourself well is part of living a real life. You clean your apartment because where you live is real. This sounds small, but it's powerful. The moment you stop treating your life as temporary, you make different financial decisions. You start taking your money seriously. Step 2. Accept that you're average. I know this sounds harsh, but it's the most freeing thing you can do. You're average. You're not special. You're not the genius waiting. And you know what? That's okay, because average people can still build wealth. Average people accomplish things. Average people can have good lives. The difference is average people do the work. They don't wait. They show up, do the work. Over time, compound effect makes them successful. You don't need to be special. You just need to be consistent. Step 3. Start small, stay boring. The man-child is attracted to grand plans, the big business idea, the perfect investment strategy. But boring beats grand every time. Open a savings account. Put $50 in it every week. That's boring. But in a year, that's $2,600. In 5 years, that's $13,000. And if you're disciplined enough to save $50 a week, you're disciplined enough to start something else. Pick up an extra shift, work overtime, freelance 5 hours a week. It's boring. Won't make you rich. Next month. In a year, that's extra $5,000 to $10,000 you didn't have before. The reason children never get wealthy is they're waiting for exciting path to wealth. But the exciting path doesn't exist. The path is boring. It's consistent. It's showing up even when you don't feel like it. And the moment you're willing to be boring, everything changes. Here's what I want you to do after this video. Don't make a grand plan. Don't buy a course. Don't journal about your feelings. Just do 3 boring things this week. 1. Go through your subscriptions. Cancel the ones you're not using. That's $50 to $100 a month. 2. Calculate your actual net worth. How much do you earn a month? How much do you spend? What's the difference? Write it down. This sucks, but you have to see the number. 3. Save whatever that difference is. Even if it's $20. Put it somewhere you can't spend it. Separate account, protected, untouchable. That's your week. That's the start. Because here's the truth. You're not broke because the system is rigged. You're broke because you've been waiting for your real life to start while it's passing. Your real life is the one you're living right now. It's time to get serious about it. If this hit you, if this made you feel something, let me know in the comments. And if you know someone stuck in the provisional life, someone waiting for permission, send them this video. Sometimes the only thing someone needs is hearing it clearly. I'm Eric. I'll see you in the next one.